Wu Wei. In its most basic sense, Wu Wei means not doing or not acting. Lao Tzu confusingly talks about Wei Wu Wei, about doing the non-doing, which means that
Oh
doing
yeah.
nothing requires the doer to do something. One
Yeah.
interpretation.
I actually like that. Here's the thing. There's a difference between not doing anything um, and just being unproductive and planning to not do something because that's part of your ritual because you need at some point to do nothing for a while, right? One of them is like you're being controlled by your lack of motivations, by your lack of planning. The other one, and you also appreciate it more. Like, for example, here's the thing, right? If you are trying to get stuff done and you're just scrolling through Facebook and you're just watching one video and one post, and you know you don't want to do that, and you know you have to get other things done, you're going to be so unproductive. And at the same time, you're really not going to enjoy the time that you're doing whatever you're doing. You're going to, the entire time, you're going to be, you know, this is not the right way to do this. You know, this is like a waste of time. And even though you're supposed to be enjoying your leisure time, you're not, because this is actually bothering you. Okay. But if you actually plan, you know what, I'm going to be productive today. And, I really like social media. I'm going to dedicate half an hour, maybe in the afternoon to just do nothing productive and just scroll over social media. But it's going to be half an hour and it's going to be based on I'm going to decide that, and it's going to be on my terms, okay? And or do nothing, or just sit on the couch and do nothing for half an hour, right? Whatever. But the good thing about that is that that's actually going to be a lot more rewarding, like because you're not feeling guilty. You already know that you planned this, and you're actively not doing anything um, because you need that. Your brain needs to. You at some point, sometimes you just don't do that. Like I don't know if Daoism teaches you to do that all the time. That's very unhelpful. But your brain does need that, and doing nothing sometimes could actually be a lot more enjoyable, and you don't feel guilty about it. You feel this is part of, and because it's part of your system, part of your ritual. It's going to enhance your productivity. It's something that you look forward to every day, and it's going to put everything else in position because it's part of your system, part of your structure that you're going with. But I don't know, does Daoism teach you that's you like? I think like doing that like half an hour every day is very productive. But does Daoism teach you that you have to go through your life doing that entirely, like doing nothing at all times? Is that what it teaches? We'll see.
Is that to weigh is to act on social or personal expectations. To do things because you think that's what you're supposed to do. To act within a rigid mindset. Since the universe is always changing, if you try to navigate it with an unchanging mindset, you're gonna have a bad time.
Ouch.
Wu Wei is to act, but acting without intent. So
That is really bad idea. You need to have intent. You need to create systems and that work. Your systems just have to be flexible to be able to adjust when something throws you off of your system, right? You're only as good as your systems. You're only as good as the structures and methodology that you have created. Like the only way to you cannot improve anything unless you measure it. You cannot improve anything unless you try a certain, like, how do you know if you're going the right way unless you try a system and then you see how it works, and if it doesn't work, you know exactly how you did it, and you change a little bit about it, and then you see how this one performs instead. If you don't have any intent, you're gonna be thrown you're gonna everything. If you end up in the wrong place, it's all entirely your fault. You have to, if you don't plan your life, then you're planning for absolute failure, right? Like you're gonna, it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna fail in life if you don't plan things ahead of time. Just because life could change, that doesn't mean you shouldn't plan things. You should just like come up with a structure that is flexible enough that you can change it, and also structures that you can get back into it if you get thrown off. Like, so for example, if you come up with, like, I don't know, diet plan or something, okay, that is so hard to monitor and count and measure, then, and you're on it. But if you, let's say you get off of it because you went on a trip and now everything is ruined, and now like you're so disappointed, trying to get on track is going to be so difficult because you're so out of your structure. Like, for example, let's say you're task list, right? Let's say you're measuring your tasks and your to-do list in such a structured way that if you and your inbox and your email, that if you 2 days, let's say you have an accident and you're in hospital, and now you come back and your to-do list is so big that there's no way to get back on track, that doesn't mean you shouldn't have a to-do list. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a system for managing your inbox. That means that your system has to be adjusted in a way that if you get thrown off of it, it's easy. You have to adjust it in a way for it to be easy to get back on it. You should also plan for the changes. Not just because things can change, that doesn't mean you shouldn't plan. You should also plan for surprises. That's what you should do. My God, I should make my own religion.
Rather than not doing, it kind of means not forcing, not swimming against the stream of the Tao.
Wow,
So
this is bad
Wu-Wei
advice.
isn't doing nothing. Think of Japanese judo, where an opponent is defeated not by brute strength, but by using the movement of their own force against them. One of the recurring metaphors for the Tao in the Tao Te Ching is pu, or uncarved wood. This uncarved wood captures what is so difficult to describe about the Tao: its simplicity and naturalness, its lack of specific features, and its creative potential. Uncarved wood can be anything, but it can only be anything because it hasn't been carved up.
Okay.
Daoists say that humans have been carved up by language, forced morality, and selfishness. They've been processed from a humble, raw material with infinite potential into a product sculpted by their environment. So the only way to move with the Tao is to get yourself out of rigid, inflexible perspectives.
What about flexible perspective? I think, I know the answer is not always somewhere in between, but in this one, I think the answer is something in between. Not being so rigid and inflexible, having some flexibility in your systems, but also not completely having no plans.
Stop thinking
and no intent. This one is one of those situations that the answer is somewhere in the middle.
Yourself as separate from nature and its processes.
Maybe it's good that the Chinese have been influenced by both Confucianism and Daoism. Maybe that's how you should do it. Maybe you should be like, we're gonna have Daoist and have Confucius.
From thinking that you stand outside the stream and can dictate,
except that Confucianism is very misogynistic and all that,
which way it will flow. You're in the stream. You can either row against it or sail along it.
And also subscribe to our newsletter, because if we get removed from all these platforms, at least we could reach out to you. And guys, by the way, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you get a free copy. Where's your copy, Susanna? Get it. We're doing promotion. You get a free. It's not even promotion. It's free. Okay, so if you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description, you get a free copy of Why There's No God. Come on, I'm handing it out for free. Okay, it's a bestseller on Amazon, and you get it for free. So subscribe to our newsletter, and you get a free copy of Why There's No God sent to you. Link in the description.